Hello, I'm David Hunt. My guest today is somebody that I've known for over 30 years. Boy, that's showing my age.
And mine.
And yours. He's a Frenchman living here in Melbourne, Serge Thomann. He's a photographer, that's how I met him, and for the music industry and entertainment. A former Deputy Mayor of the City of Port Phillip, a former brand manager of L'Oreal, and a dear friend of the late Mercamora. Serge, welcome.
Thank you. It looks like I've retired, but I haven't.
No, you haven't. But we'll get to that a little bit later. How did you end up in Melbourne when you were a Frenchman?
Well, I came to work for a French company. That's the easiest bit. So I came to work for L'Oreal.
Right.
I was employed by them to come and learn my craft in international marketing. And so they sent me to Melbourne, where L'Oreal was based in Australia.
And so you came here, liked it, and ended up living here?
I came actually here the day Bob Hawke became the leader of the opposition and the parliament was dissolved.
Right.
So that's when I actually arrived in Australia, that very day, 4th of February, 1983, and just before Ash Wednesday. And then I was always doing photography as a hobby, and then I became a photographer thanks to Michael Hutchence, who discovered me and told me I was losing my time working for a big corporate firm. So I said, oh, why not try my luck?
So you're a freelance photographer.
Yes.
And you worked a lot within the music industry and
Yes.
entertainment industry.
But start with music, and
Yep.
then with neighbours,
Yep.
Carly, Jason, where you got that blur between
Yep.
music, television, cinema. So that's how I went more into the other parts, the other arts.
And you're one of those people that you're very determined. You work really hard at getting that right shot and being at all the opening nights and being there on set of different shows. What drove you? What was your passion in those early days?
Well, you always want to get the shot, and sometimes it's very frustrating when you actually don't get the shot, the great shot. And I can tell you a very very funny story. I was with Kylie Minogue in Japan, and Michael Hutchence was backstage, and I want to take a picture of the two together, and it was not. They just started dating,
right?
And no one knew that they were dating, and I didn't know. And when I actually asked to take the picture, I was told it's not something I can do, and I was very frustrated, and I didn't understand why I could not take that picture. And then a week later, it became official that they were both dating, and I understood why I couldn't take. But that, have Kylie Minogue and Michael Hutchence in the same picture backstage in Osaka, that would have been the shot. But so you need to be at the right place at the right time to get the right shot. But I'm not a paparazzi, so I've never done that, apart from once for a Japanese magazine in Cairns. But I've always respected the people I work with.
So who were you selling the photos to? Was it newspapers or was it for the
mainly magazines? Because magazines used to buy directly from photographers back then, and then eventually just work with agencies. So always with the best entertainment agencies around the world. When Wire Image opened here, they asked, I was their first photographer on the book, but nowadays you really have got one agency, Getty, and I don't think the photographers are treated the way they should be, and definitely paid the way they should be paid.
And you don't take photos at all anymore on the red carpet?
No, I don't. I do occasionally, but I don't have the. I don't have any. When I was a councillor, I didn't have the time to go to everything. So to actually be a good photographer, you have to go to lots of things. And when I was a councillor and deputy mayor of Port Phillip, I stopped doing that because I was concentrating on my public role.
Now, you're at the opening of everything. I see you on the red carpet of almost every major event that's happening in Melbourne. You still love it all, don't you?
Oh, I still get invited to things, and I'd take a few photos.
But more just there as.
But yes. So no, I think the entertainment industry is a great industry. I love performance. I've always loved, I've taken photos of a lot of shows, from Mamma Mia to We'll Rock You. That's like all the production books. I did Madiba last year. That was my last big job.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So so some people still remember me from the time.
Yeah.
And I suppose once you're a good photographer, you're always a good photographer.
Well, that's true.
You s-
Now,
and
now
s-
let's move on. You were the former deputy mayor of the city of Port Phillip. How did that all come about? What was the reasoning you got into politics?
So, despite the fact that my father was a mayor in my town in France,
Okay.
I never had any inclinations. In fact, it was more the reverse because I never saw my dad because he was always busy, even in a small place. But in 2007, the city of Port Phillip was working on what's called a St. Kilda Triangle.
Triangle, yeah.
And I was in St. Kilda and I thought it was the wrong decision to make for the place where I've chosen to come and live. And I started the fight against it and eventually stopped it. But as I couldn't stop it from the outside, we ran a campaign and won the council elections in 2008 and got rid of 5 of the 6 bad councillors. Once we were there, a year later, we managed to buy out the developer and the St. Clair Triangle didn't happen, which was a massive shopping mall that we felt was not right for the area.
What was it like being a councillor?
But in a way, there are 2 types of councillors. You've got the councillors who just come in and come to meetings and stuff, and then you've got the councillor who is like me. I go everywhere. I was like that as a photographer, but of course, when you get invited to openings and to exhibitions and different things, you have to respect the people and your constituents who have invited you. And so I was out all the time because I wanted to show my support to the arts community. And
also with issues, you were I can remember because we live fairly close to each other down in St Kilda, and you every time I saw you when you were a councillor, you always were asking my opinion on stuff or telling me what's going on in the area and all that. You were very passionate about that as well, weren't you?
But I think one of the quality of a council is to listen. And I'm not a member of a party, so my party is my community. So I don't have to obey to anybody. I only have to listen to myself. And for me to make my own judgment, I have to listen to others. And the more people you listen to, the better your judgment. And that's what I have been trying to do while I was there.
And because you were independent, it became harder in the last elections because you were standing as an independent and there were other, bigger parties that swooped in. Are you missing it?
Yes, I miss being there, but I don't want to be looking at the way the council works with 7 or 8 of them are member of a party. 6 or 7 have been standing for an election or a press election, and I know very clearly where their priorities lie. And my intel tells me, everybody tells me it's good that I'm not there because I would hate it. So, I miss the contact, and I miss being able to have a voice for the community. And I feel at the moment the community doesn't have a voice, so that frustrates me.
Your relationship with Mirka, she was a living legend in her time here in Melbourne, and when she passed away last year, the pouring out of love, and it's so wonderful that the coverage she got in the media and at a memorial that was down at the theatre in St Kilda. You were a good friend of hers, weren't you?
Yes, I was like a fourth son.
Was it just because of the French thing that?
No, it was. We met at a newsagent in Ackland Street in 95, just before Christmas. And I knew of her, but I've always been shy even when I saw her. But when the 2 of us were next to each other at the newsagent buying our French magazines, we started talking and we spent the day together. We had lunch. We went to her place, and it was entering a world where I have never been in before. And it was like, and then the minute I got out of her house, it was back to the real world, and it was quite, a challenge too. Mirka was an incredible woman. She was, she was an angel. She was very kind. She didn't have any enemies. She only had, love and goodness to give to people. She was very supportive for the Triangle campaign, and then for the when I was at council and all the different campaigns we ran. She was always there. She allowed us to use some of her prints, to sell some of her paintings or to make prints out of her paintings that she numbered and signed, and that's how we raised most of the money. When in the last few years, when her health unfortunately went down, I was there. I saw her the day before she died. Even she was, in a retirement place. I organized her parties. I organized her 80th, 85th. I organized a 90th birthday party. She was still okay then. I had an accordion play. It was very French.
Yeah, of course.
And we always spoke French, and we always said vous to each other. So in France, you said tu when you know someone that quite well.
Yeah.
And when she asked me to say tu to her, I felt, with the age gap and stuff, I felt, I didn't feel it was right. So we've spoken, and if she said, okay, if you say vous to me, I will say vous to you.
What does vous mean?
It's the you. The you.
The you.
The tu, the you in French, you've got tu and vous.
Right.
Tu is very, like I would say tu to you because we are friends.
Yeah.
And vous is more sign of respect for elder people.
Okay.
But I said until the last time we spoke, she's always said vous to me. She's never said tu.
Right.
But I was very pleased to help organize the memorial and get Julia Zamaro to host it and everybody else. It's great. I'm still very close friends with William. What happened since she died? I was just, to be honest, I'm quite amazed of that outpouring of emotions and love for her.
Yeah. Oh, it was just wonderful, and it was so good to be in Melbourne at that moment in time. These days, you with your partner, there's a restaurant, and you're the business partner there.
I'm his business manager. So
you're his business manager.
Yes, I don't have shares in the business, but someone who runs a restaurant needs help. He might be extraordinary in the kitchen, but there's a lot of other things to do for a restaurant to go well. So, but I help him, but I do also still involved in the community things. I organized 2 forums, one for the state, one for the federal elections. So I felt it was important that the people who stand for parliament are seen and heard by people who are going to vote for them. The last forum we did at Memo Hall with Josh, Kate, and Steph was amazing, and it's online, and it showed the candidates what they are, and obviously one of them got elected, and it gave an opportunity for people to actually meet them and to know what they do. And who they vote for when they put a number 1 in front of someone. Now,
you're very involved still with the French community here,
yes.
and like the headquarters is in St Kilda, so it's very easy for you.
That's Alliance Française.
Yes.
Yes.
What is it about holding on to your heritage when your home obviously now is Melbourne?
So first of all, when I arrived here, I did not really do that much with the French community. It's only later in life that I've been asked to do things. And the main thing I do is that I'm the president of something called French Assist Melbourne, which helps French people in distress. Either they've got car accidents, work accidents, problem with the law.
Is that when they're here on a holiday or something?
Yes, on a working holiday visa. There are 27,000 French people every year in Australia on a working holiday visa. And some come unprepared, and they some end up at the psych ward at the Alfred Hospital, and that's when my organization steps in, either with them directly or with their relatives in France.
Yeah.
But again, I'm bilingual, and I'm passionate about Australia, but I'm also passionate about France, and I'm passionate about Alsace, the region where I come from. So. I'm a freelancer. I can do whatever I want to do. So
True.
I can support the cause I want to support. I can be with the people I want to be. I don't have any, and I've got a dog, a Frenchie.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we have a dog.
Serge, thank you so much for being on the show today. We'll be back with another interview real soon.